So the Season 4 update changed a lot of things about the long range rifles inside Warzone, and in this video we're going to be going over what are the 6 best long range rifles to use inside Warzone right now. If you do enjoy this style of content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k. A quick disclaimer is that we will be putting stats in the title of every video that does contain any, so that you can pick and choose what videos you do want to watch from the channel. We said this in our previous video, but just in case you missed that one, I just wanted to mention it here as well. Also leave a like if you do enjoy this style of content. So let's get straight into this, and we've got the stats on screen just now for TTKs, and this is mixed shot location TTKs at 300 HP. We made sure to update this for the Season 4 update. As you can see here, we've got the different shot locations on screen just now. So 14% headshot, 36% chest shot, 19% stomach shot. This is all based around my stats that I get in game from Black Ops Cold War, and the rest are all going to be kind of mixed shots on the limbs anyway, and that's usually how it goes when it comes to these shot locations. I'm a 1.4 KD player, so if you do need any reference, that's what this kind of looks like. And as you can see here, we've got all the weapons pretty much when it comes to LMGs. We've also got ARs in here as well. The reason why I wanted to put them both on the same list is that we always went through them separately anyway, so we might as well put the LMGs and the ARs on the list, and because a lot more LMGs are getting better movement speeds now, we might as well just have them here too. So as you can see, the main focus for AR videos is for long range, of course. We will make a sniper support video later on today as well, but we're mainly focusing on that second damage drop off. Now there is only a couple of weapons here that stand out with a 3rd damage range, but we're mainly trying to avoid these kind of weapons now because they're just way too slow. So what we're going to do is we're going to arrange the assault rifles in the 2nd damage range from A to Z, and we're going to get the fastest possible TTK weapons. Just keep in mind, the fastest TTKs don't really mean too much in the 2nd damage range for an assault rifle or a long range rifle, because it isn't really the main stat. The main stat's probably recoil control and then TTK, and obviously I'll explain which weapons have better recoil control as well. But like I said, with SMGs it's slightly different because you're mainly point blank. So AS44, definitely a fast TTK gun, but it's more of a sniper support, especially with the recoil control. AS-Val, very similar again, more of a sniper support or an SMG. MG34 has too much recoil. This gun is kind of trash, even though it does have a fast TTK. MG82 is actually okay in terms of the recoil department, but it's not going to be like one of those guns that you could beam at long range with. Finn Adverse is very similar again. Even though it has that fast TTK, you're not going to be able to beam at those longer ranges. UGM now is definitely a solid option. The recoil is very manageable. It's not like super easy to control, but it's definitely a solid gun. And as you can see, it's probably one of the first weapons with a solid TTK that you can use very easily at longer ranges. And you'll probably find that a lot of the LMGs are going to have faster TTKs than the ARs now, which actually gives it a more of a bonus to actually use LMGs now. So the UGM, definitely a solid gun in my opinion. So definitely give it a go if you haven't already. Then we've got the M91 for Modern Warfare, and I've always talked about this gun being a very consistent weapon, especially even with those mixed shot locations, and this definitely makes it stand out. Definitely a solid LMG to use, and I would definitely use this over a PKM or a Bruin in my personal opinion. I think it's a very, very underrated gun. Then we've got the MG42 from Vanguard, which again has pretty low recoil for the most part, so it's definitely an okay gun. PKM Bruin is definitely solid as well. AN94, a bit of a weird weapon to use because of that burst, the initial kind of couple of bursts on this gun, so it's not really too popular. The Whitley LMG got a huge buff with the recent update, so you could definitely use that as well. It is a bit of a slow moving gun, but we did kind of build it mostly for movement speed, so if you do want to check out the builds, it's in our top 10 loadouts video for that. We've got the Cold War FFAR, is not really a long range gun. We've got the RAL LMG. We've got the Nikita, which is now one of the fastest killing ARs in the game, just after the AN94 there. Definitely can use this at long range, but it still is a bit weird in terms of recoil. Type 11 LMG is up there as well. This gun has super low recoil, so if you do want a super low recoil LMG, that's definitely a solid option. The Scar is there as well, but the mags are too small. Cooper Carbine is got a pretty decent TTK, followed by the Vargo as well. So both those guns have low recoil, so you could definitely get away with using those. We've got the bar, which is still up there in terms of TTK as well. As you can see, a lot of the TTKs in general are kind of sitting around the 850 mark. So before we actually get into the top 6 list, I want to give my honorable mentions to the Whitley LMG as well as the M4A1. I'll quickly show you the builds for this, and if you want to see a full explanation to why I've chosen all these attachments, check out our top 10 loadouts video, which I'll leave a link at the end of this one. But this is the 2 builds for these 2 weapons if you do want to try them out. So let's get into the actual top 6 weapons now, and starting off at number 6, we have the Vargo assault rifle from Cold War. This gun actually got a buff with the recent update, which is quite surprising because they don't usually buff weapons from Cold War or Modern Warfare. But if you do want to give this gun a go again, it definitely had a damage buff. The TTKs are a bit better now on this weapon. The recoil is relatively okay to manage. I wouldn't say it's as easy as something like the STG or other Vanguard weapons, but definitely a solid gun overall. You want to use the GRU suppressor, task force barrel, axial 3 times, 60 round mags, and Spetsnaz grip. This is a standard meta build for Cold War rifles. Next up we have the Cooper carbine, which has a very competitive TTK now, which is really good. But on top of that, you don't really need to use tight grip anymore because they actually made the recoil on this weapon a bit better. So tight grip's not really going to help out all that much anymore. But for the overall long range build for this weapon, you want to use the MX silencer for the sound suppression and the recoil control. Cooper custom barrel for the recoil control once again. You also get fire rate bonus as well. G16 or whatever optic you like. Custom padded stock is the best for the Cooper carbine and controlling the recoil of this weapon. Fleet for the better movement speeds because this gun can act as a very good sniper support as well. So you could change out a few attachments, make it a sniper support weapon instead. But I do think Fleet is solid at just giving you better movement speeds. On hand for a better ADS I think is more important than fully loaded. Polymer grip for the better recoil control. 60 round drum mags is a must for this weapon, lengthened, and then the strife angled grip is going to help with the side to side recoil, but you can also go for the hand stop under barrel as well. It just kind of depends on which weapon you're using. If you need a bit more vertical recoil control, or if you need a bit more horizontal, you could choose either or. Next up we have the gun that I've been asked the most questions about, and that is the NZ41. This gun is still meta, in my opinion. It's a very solid gun to use. They made a slight adjustment to this weapon, and I thought it was a nerf, but essentially they just changed which barrel was the most powerful barrel to use. So I did make a slight mistake in the previous videos, but obviously I was trying to work out if this gun was still good, but now it definitely has a solid weapon still to use in Warzone. So you want to use the MX silencer as always for the recoil control and the damage range. Now here's where the change actually took place. So before you had to use the Mark 1 burst barrel, but then change it to the burst, the full auto kind of firing mode, and then that would give you the best kind of recoil control as well as giving you full auto. But now they've changed the way that works, and the new best barrel for this gun is a 360mm barrel. It controls the recoil the best, and it gives you bullet velocity, so overall it's just the best option to use now. So this is what's going to make this gun feel like it did with that burst barrel before it got nerfed. G16 optic or whatever optic you like. EPAC stock is the best at controlling recoil. Brace at controlling the recoil. Once again, you do need the initial firing recoil control on this weapon. On hand for better ADS time. Polymer grip for the recoil control once again. Sakura 50 round mags is the best mags for this gun. It increases the fire rate, also helps the recoil control of the weapon as well. Lengthened for the bullet velocity, and then the strife angled grip is an absolute must on the NZ41. The side to side recoil is the main issue with this weapon, and the strife angled helps out more than the hand stop under barrel does, so make sure you go for the strife angled grip, and the NZ41 is still a solid meta weapon right now. Next up at number 3 we have the UGMA LMG, which is the new LMG that got added in to Warzone with this update. And as you've seen from the TTKs and the spreadsheet I showed earlier, this gun has an insanely fast TTK at long range and is relatively easy to control as well. I mean, it's not super easy to control, but it's definitely manageable with these attachments. So you do want to use the MX silencer for the sound suppression, recoil control, damage range. The Bernard barrel is definitely the best way to go because it helps the recoil control. G16 optic, whatever optic you want, obviously. Then we need to use the Mercier stock for the sustained fire accuracy and sustained fire recoil control. Then we're using the tight grip for the recoil control once again because we need to make sure we're landing all those shots. On hand for the better ADS time. Polymer grip for the better recoil control once again. We're using the British 75 round mags, and that is because It's going to give you better recoil control, it's going to give you better fire rate, which is more forgiving, better movement speeds as well, which is always a bonus on an LMG. You can also go for the 50 round, which will give you a slightly better movement speed, but I do think the 75 rounds is going to be the better option in my opinion. And then hand stop under barrel, you can also use the strife angled grip as well. Both are definitely solid options here. At number 2, we still have the STG. In my opinion, I still think a lot of people are going to use this weapon, mainly because the movement on the STG is relatively decent, but on top of that, it's just very easy to use for most people, and people like to use kind of low recoil guns, and I do think after that health increase, low recoil guns are pretty much the main way to go now anyway. Now, the TTK that I mentioned at the start of this video was actually with the 50 round mags, so this is actually going to give you the TTK that you've seen in the spreadsheet. But if you use a 60 round mags, you get a slightly faster TTK. The long range TTK for this is 927 milliseconds, which is a little bit quicker. It's not a massive difference, and if you're missing shots with this one, you might as well go for the 50 round mags. But the build remains exactly the same. So you want to use the MX silencer for the sound suppression, recoil control, 760mm barrel, G16 optic or whatever optic you like. Weighted stock is the best for this gun. Acrobatic, you don't really need vital still. It only gives you like a 10 milliseconds TTK bonus. On hand for the better ADS time, polymer grip for the recoil control, 50 round or the 60 round if you want to get a slightly quicker TTK, lengthened, and the hand stop under barrel. Last but not least, at number 1, we have the Automaton assault rifle. This is my personal favorite assault rifle, and I do think it is the best low recoil gun in the entire game right now. It's pretty much got straight vertical recoil, super easy to manage, big mags, decent movement speed. Overall, just a no-brainer gun in my opinion. It's basically like the grau of Vanguard in my opinion. So the Automaton, in my opinion, solid gun. MX silencer for the recoil control and the damage range bonuses, 600mm barrel for the recoil control, G16 or whatever optic you want, padded stock for the recoil control, tight grip again for the recoil control. On hand for better ADS time, polymer grip for the recoil control, 75 round mags is the best mags for TTK, and it's the largest mags available. Lengthened, and then the hand stop under barrel for the recoil control. There's no strife angled grip or anything available for this weapon. But overall, the Automaton, definitely the best gun in the game right now in my opinion. You'll probably see a lot more people using this in the coming days and weeks. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k. We will be making a sniper support video later on today once we calculate all the stats and stuff. If you do enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, and thank you very much for watching.